Perfect. Yeah. Is that the horns or the sax? I don't know. You did the intro. The brass, yeah. Hi. Welcome to another episode of the Nuanced Naturopaths. I'm Karinda.
I'm Julie.
And it is lovely that you have clicked on this, or tapped on this episode today. This ep is all about
The skin biome.
dun dun dun, meaning, because some people might just hear that and go, what?
Yeah.
So meaning the communities of
Organisms.
including bacteria, including fungi, including viruses
Viruses, protozoa,
that
archaea.
live on our skin.
On, in and around.
On, in and around.
In the various niches.
Yes. Yes. Do you want to start there actually? Because you've got a fun fact. You've got a list of skin biome fun facts.
I do.
Starting, I think if I do that does that come up on your laptop? If I've highlighted something?
It does.
That's kind of cool, hey?
That's
I can be
really
like,
cool.
all right, Julie,
we could
say
write
this next.
write each other secret messages.
That the listener won't know.
Ooh.
Oh my God, how good is our community of Nuanced Naturopaths? I think it's just the nicest notes about like, how many people do you think will like this episode? I feel like that's a good place to start, but
Yeah.
you go with your flow and I'll follow.
Okay, the human body is now known as a holobiont.
What does that mean?
That means that we are not just human cells, but we are a collection of organisms. We are not just the cells that make up our body. It also includes the organisms that live in, on, and around us.
Yeah.
And that we're a collective of these cells. So it's a much broader description of not only what we are, but how we function.
Yeah, right. It's that fun fact that people throw around, and I can't remember the actual fact now, but like something about you're more bacterial cells than you are human cells.
More microbes than you are human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, there are different numbers thrown around, but it's around about 10 to 1. 10 microbes to 1 human cell.
That's nuts. They play a really important role.
In every way.
Yes.
In every aspect of your health.
Yes.
Think about what that means when you're washing your hands with your alcohol solution
Hand sanitizer.
left over from COVID.
Yep. People are really stuck on that hand sanitizing bandwagon, hey?
Yeah. Think of what you're doing. Anyway, that's jumping ahead.
Yeah.
So within this holobiont, we have about 15 different niches. So a niche is a place in the body that has a specific set of characteristics that enables a community of microbes to thrive or to live in that area. So things like pH, moisture, different temperatures, like you think about your armpits versus the volar surface, so the soft underside of your forearm.
That's right. And what was the fun fact you told me about the underside of the forearm last week?
The greatest diversity of species on the skin biome is on the front surface, so that soft white skin on the inside of your forearm.
That's so weird to think.
Yeah.
Like there of all places.
Well, you think about how often it's a fairly dry surface.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So not, relatively less moisture than, say, your belly button or your armpits.
Yep.
We're touching things constantly onto our arms, but not wiping them off like we would on the palms of our hands, say.
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a contact with a lot of microbial species, and then those species are then keeping each other in check.
Yeah, right.
In an ideal environment, there are other factors as well. There's also sebum production.
Yes. So that's like your skin oil.
Yeah.
Now might be a good time to mention that we're recording in a van and there may be some background noises.
The podcast van.
Yes. And I'll take out this part if I listen back to the audio and there are in fact no background noises. Let's see how good. Let's really put these mics to work. But there's the disclaimer, pardon me.
Yeah.
Enjoy what's that thing I said last time? Enjoy the ambient sounds. Use them as a prompt for relaxation.
That's right.
Every time you hear the large branch overhead scratching against the roof of the van, you will feel more and more deeply relaxed.
That's right.
With each scratch on Julie's.
Because I parked in the shade out of the way.
Smart.
But there's a low-hanging branch that every time the wind blows, it just dangles onto the roof of the van.
And it's going to offer us deep relaxation.
But how impressive is it that we've got a podcast van?
It's pretty impressive. I mean, to clarify, you didn't get this van just for podcast.
No, it serves many purposes.
Which is great.
But it's also a podcast van.
Multimodality van.
Yes. Sebum. Also sweat in different parts of the body.
Yep.
There's rough or smooth textures of skin, UV exposure.
That's got to be so important, hey? Yeah.
Ambient temperature, and then humidity, depending on the location and health of the different colonies.
Okay, so those factors and how those factors just aren't the same in every part of our body. Not every part of our body is going to have the same temperature, same UV exposure, same sweat or sebum production. So approximately 15 different niches on this holobiont that we are with with a specific set of characteristics. I'm looking for a man with a specific set of skills. I don't even know what I'm quoting. I don't know why I tried to quote it. And that allows for a specific community to thrive.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Because each of those characteristics is going to support a species or number of species.
Yeah, okay.
You think about the difference between your belly button and your cheek.
Very different.
Very different. Yeah.
I would hope. Unless you're like an alien, then there is no belly button.
Yeah. I mean, like me, I've got a belly button that goes as deep as China.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Just another thing we have in common.
So much in common. Sorry.
No, you're right.
This is a serious podcast. This is serious.
We have fun, Julie, and that's allowed.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, where did you want to take it next?
Probably back to birth.
Yeah, let's go back to birth, to the start.
Yeah, because all of our biomes are initiated, well, okay, I was going to say at birth, but there are now thoughts that the uterus and even the amniotic sac have their own biomes. It's like the further they go down these rabbit holes of research, the more they find, like the brain has a biome.
Yeah.
The blood has a biome.
It's cool to think. The blood has... Yeah.
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 Yeah. So the newborn biome is most strongly influenced by exposures at birth, but variations of that biome and its impact largely unexplored. They've done a lot of research about the gut microbiome, and of course there's an interaction between the guts on the guts, the microbes in the guts and the microbes on the outside
of your guts.
And why is that? And that is because microbes in the guts produce byproducts, metabolites that are spread systemically, that then either feed, support, influence different aspects of the skin and different aspects of the microbes that live on the skin.
Okay.
Fascinating.
It's so fascinating.
I just love it. I can't get enough.
It is really fascinating. And I know you said that the exposures at birth stuff and how that influences the skin biome is largely unexplored. But I mean, Actually, I was thinking the other day. All right, Karinda rabbit hole. Flashback to this morning where Julie's like, I'd really love to stay more on track with the podcast. And I'm like, let's go down a rabbit hole that won't mean anything to anyone.
Karinda going off track is fine.
Oh, is it?
I just meant me not
okay.
going down too many rabbit holes.
Okay. Well,
or going down a rabbit hole and then forgetting where I was at.
Okay. Well, we've always, we pull each other out of the rabbit holes.
Yeah,
Anyway, interestingly, only a day or two ago, I was just spontaneously thinking about how a lot of women poop during childbirth, and how a lot of midwives, pride themselves in managing that poop as swiftly and as discreetly as possible. And then it made me think, I thought, it wouldn't be the worst thing if a bit of the mother's poop got onto a newborn baby, hey?
Well, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
Because part of the process of inoculating the child as it's born in a vaginal birth is that it comes into contact with vaginal species, of course, but also the species from the rectum, from the gut, because proximity.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, because then that's where my mind went straight to, and in fact, where my mind goes to when I think about that kind of stuff is how would I convince someone that it's actually not that gross if you pooped on your baby? Pardon me. It's not that gross in the process of a vaginal birth if fecal matter was to come into contact with your baby's skin.
It naturally happens whether you poop or you don't.
Because the species that are coming out of your gut via the anus are around that part of your body anyway.
Yeah.
And like you said, proximity.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the inoculation of the vaginal microbiome comes from the anus.
The anus, yeah.
Just that
interact with each other.
Perineum is not very wide.
Yeah.
That it happens. Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of people worry, and it's right to worry. You should be careful about, wiping when you use the bathroom and how you're doing it. Which direction you're wiping. However, it goes back to the terrain theory that though introducing those species to the vagina is not necessarily going to be an issue if the terrain is healthy and robust.
Right, yep.
With, predominantly lactobacillus species, unless you're type 5, which is another subject, another podcast altogether.
There's her master's degree coming out well beyond any of our knowledge when it comes to microbiomes, and certainly most recently the vaginal microbiome.
It's that thing about the more you learn, the more you realise you don't know.
Oh yeah, there's so much out there.
I'm just like, I need to know more.
But to reiterate that point, because I actually think that's really important, it's good to remember that if a pathogenic bacteria or fungus species comes into contact with your vagina, with your vulva, we need to get it out of our heads that it's guaranteed infection. It's about the ecosystem that is already there and the quality and functioning of that ecosystem that is already there, and how equipped it is to deal with that invading species, that pathogen, that stimuli, which is how our immune system as a whole also works. It's not like you come into contact with someone who is sick, you will definitely get sick. That's old thinking. Yeah. New thinking is, like Julie said, exactly the terrain. The terrain being your body or whatever part of the body we're talking about.
And I should just say that this reflects a school of thought, which, is certainly being, as far as I'm concerned, is being reflected in the newer research, that the terrain is what's important, that having a healthy body, healthy immune system, healthy, diverse species of microbiome are what sustains health. Whereas the older thinking and tends to be more allopathic thinking, so Western medicine thinking, tends to be more the germ theory, that it's the germ that causes the problem. And they are two very fundamental differences in the way of thinking about disease.
Yeah. I'm glad we went there, actually. I think that's a good thing to clarify.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too. Me
awesome.
too. Yeah. So, a child that is born via Caesar is more likely to be inoculated with species of other people in the room than of its mother.
Oh.
But wait, that child, if breastfed within 6 months, will show exactly the same kinds of diversity as a child that was vaginally born.
Great.
Breast milk fixes everything.
I mean, breast milk is freaking amazing. Breastfeeding is freaking amazing. I feel grief when I think about birth and breastfeeding because I just think about the rates of both of those, like vaginal births and breastfeeding, at least for the first 6 months. I just think about the rates of that declining. And I mean, let's just put this as another dot point in the column of like why it is so important for, I mean, there's benefit, I want to say there's benefits to the mother, but the health of your child, like going decades down the track, like how their microbiome is set up
Yeah.
in these earliest days of their life is so predictive of
Yeah.
future health.
And just to reiterate, because especially having witnessed the birth of my beautiful granddaughter, who I'm totally besotted with, and how that was an emergency Caesar. And I had concerns about her future health because of that. Simultaneously, I'm doing my master's in the subject, which was fabulous. And just to know that breast milk, exclusively feeding a child on breast milk for as long as possible, restores all of that immune tolerance, diversity, abundance, species, and also not restricting your child contact with bacteria.
Yeah.
You know, let them crawl on well, they don't crawl on the floor before 4 months, but let them have contact with other people.
Yeah.
Let them be exposed, because these things help to challenge and build their biome,
Yeah.
their microbes,
It's so important.
their library of microbes.
Do we dive straight into the earwax and body odor?
Yeah.
So this is the topic that sparked the initiation of, oh, we need to do a podcast on the skin microbiome.
Yeah.
My God. This is a really niche area, I guess. It's about how a genetic predisposition that you may or may not have, how it relates to the quality of earwax that you produce, how much body odor or the quality of body odor that you emit. Take it away with the research, Julie.
Okay. So there was a particular study that found that a small percentage of the population has, and they tend to be of Asian heritage, but not exclusively.
Okay, but interesting to note. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so if you're one of these people that has white, flaky earwax, rather than yellow, sticky earwax, you are one of these people. And it's likely that you are somebody who has experienced less body odor, less stinky, than somebody with the yellow, sticky earwax who's more likely to have stinky bits.
Yes, and this is all about a genetic variation. It's where it's not like two different genes, one for the other. It's about whether this gene is activated or not, expressed or not. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the ABCC11 or 11, I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
True.
Gene has two variations, one of which is functional.
Okay.
So people with the functional version tend to have higher amounts of Corynebacterium, which produces a musty, sour, even fecal-like odour. You smell shit. No, sorry. Whereas those with the non-functional have more Staphylococcus.
Yeah.
And produce more neutral odours.
Interesting.
So other microbes can contribute to the scent, however, much lower proportions, and they have less impact on their overall smell.
Okay.
And that particular gene, of course, goes with the white flaky earwax.
Yeah, okay, got it. They could have evened it out. They could have given you, okay, do you want less kind of lighter, flakier earwax, but like you might stink a bit more, or do you want thick, heavy yellow earwax, and then you can stink a bit less? Nope, they had to pair the stinky.
They,
the gods, the gene gods.
damn the gods.
Dionysus, no, I don't know. Hey Siri, who's the god of earwax? Who's the god of the skin microbiome? That is so fascinating. I have a few different thoughts. My first thought is like, I think that most people listening to this will be able to like identify which category they fall into straight away, which is kind of cool because like you don't need a genetic test. We can go based on body signs, right?
Yeah.
That's fun. The other thing I want to say that I think is just a good thing to know in general in terms of what determines or what causes body odor. And I've got a great paragraph here. So body odor is the release of volatile compounds produced by skin microbes, so bacteria, fungal, viruses, which consume a particular protein and lipid-rich sweat molecule. This molecule is produced by apocrine glands. That means it's excreted onto a surface. It's out of your body. It's not in your body. Is not produced by people with a specific genetic characteristic, and that's the same characteristic that's responsible for the white flag. Anyway, so how you smell is determined by
Your skin microbes.
your skin microbes.
And your skin microbes are in part determined by a genetic functionality that produces a protein that is a substrate or feeds
Yeah.
the
So,
microbes.
so the bacteria are eating things that your body releases.
Yeah.
And what they're eating or not eating determines the body odor, hey?
Yeah.
Now, you also mention, of course, there are other factors that can influence our body odor. Diet, gender. I'm going to say with gender, hormones.
Yeah.
That's going to have an influence. Age, deodorant and self-care product usage, which we're going to get into now, but also immune health. And Julie also says, and how long you've been wearing those clothes.
Yes, because my dear departed brother had a theory that he didn't need to wash because pheromones attract girls. And we would have this continual conversation about, yes, but girls can't smell the pheromones if all they can smell is body odour. It's like, oh, but I had a shower. But he wouldn't change his clothes. It's like, it's your clothes that stink because you put your bacteria on them.
I would rather, okay, if you had to, would you rather, inspired by Julie's dearly departed brother, you have to pick one. Would you rather wash your body but never wash your clothes, or never wash your body but be able to wash your clothes?
I would wash my clothes.
Same.
Yeah.
Because on the pheromone thought line,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's coming from my body. But it's not, I don't want to leave that stench on my clothes and then the stench can amplify.
Yeah.
That isn't related to what my body is releasing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't think we're overtly smelling pheromones anyway.
No, it's all happening on a very subtle.
Yeah. I mean, they've done some great experiments where they've got people to sweat onto T-shirts and then given those T-shirts to blindfolded people of the opposite sex, heterosexual people.
Yeah.
And it was interesting the choices that people made based on scent.
Yeah.
And then when they went through and picked photos, that they would often pick the same people.
No, interesting. I had it in my head that the photos didn't match up.
Ooh.
All right. Anyway,
There've been more than one study, so
okay.
Yeah, we could be cherry picking the data as we
smashing it together. I'll take it upon myself. Future Karinda, at your service. She's going to find a link and she's going to put some juicy data in the show notes. But on that, I want to say that I think some of those studies along those lines found that we are most attracted to the pheromones of a potential partner that will allow for the most versatile genetic makeup. So if we've got dark hair and dark eyes, we may be picking. That's just one example.
Oh my God. I was going to say another thing. As soon as you said most diverse, and I was going to say immune system function. Because we pick people with the opposite immune system, unless we're on the pill.
Yeah, the pill.
In which case we pick someone of the same immune system function or similar.
I might need to do a whole episode on that, how your attraction to partner.
Is that an
changes.
Oh Menzies?
That might be that could be an Oh Menzies episode featuring Julie Forrester now.
Ooh.
No, we can just share it to both. But that's a really interesting point. So, but what's the, even with your point and my point combined, the bottom line I feel is the same, where our bodies, again, we can't escape our biology. I feel like I'm always saying that. Our bodies and lizard brains are thinking about reproduction. They're thinking about offspring. What will make the strongest offspring? Crossing genes together. Not like, you think of like the ancestral like royal family lines from ages past and all the disease, I shouldn't say disease, disorders and syndromes that would come from that because you're mixing the same genes with the same genes over and over again. So
Tutankhamun.
Yeah. So mix those genes.
Yeah. Also, probably the question that is arising in our listeners, I would assume, I guess, maybe, is, well, then how often should I wash my body?
Shit, great question.
And I would say 2 to 3 times a week, maybe.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
Like, I like to have a shower every day. I just do. It's habit. I feel like I've woken up properly if I've had a shower. I didn't have a shower this morning, though, because we had to get up early.
We did get up early.
But, 2 to 3 times a week, I think, is sufficient.
This really pleases me. No, I'm not going to call myself out on the podcast. I don't shower. Okay, fine. You got me.
Go on, say it.
You got me. I don't shower every day. I don't care to.
And she's got yellow sticky earwax.
What does that mean?
You got stinky pits.
I do, so I should shower every day.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't.
No, I specifically do. Videos. How do you like that? How do you like that, YouTube? No, but I am definitely that subtype. I do have the thicker earwax and I do stink more, much to my mum's dismay when I was growing up, when I was showering a lot.
But you change your clothes and you wash them frequently. And I can't say that I've ever been offended by your body odour.
Okay, all right. I'll take that. And yes, but I will also hold the fort and say that it's my personal and professional opinion that we don't need to be washing ourselves with soap every day.
No.
Now, shall we allow that to segue into personal products and deodorants?
Yeah, let's. That's a beautiful segue.
Because there's another study, and I might start with the title and then take it over. I'll do the easy part and then I'll hand it over to Julie. Did you know that antiperspirant or deodorant, because they're not the same thing, can significantly influence the microbes of your armpit? Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Oh, it's a small study.
It is a small study. That is one of the drawbacks of the study.
Okay.
But I like the experiment that they did because it was a crossover. They had 17 participants, 3 men, 4 women, using antiperspirant. So an antiperspirant being something that stops perspiration, blocks the secretions of sweat from your armpits. When you think about it, do we really want to be doing that?
Yep. Good question.
So it reduces the amount of sweat. And 3 men, 2 women used deodorant. Deodorant being a product that eliminates the bacteria that produce the odour.
Oh, I was going to say eliminates the smell. Not necessarily eliminates the bacteria. It can just...
How does it eliminate the smell?
By putting a stronger smell on top. No, not all deodorants are killing bacteria. No way.
I can't believe we didn't actually think about this aspect.
Clarification in the show notes, guys.
Often including ethanol or other antimicrobials to kill odour-causing microbes.
No,
we did have it in the notes.
No, not we. Julie had it in the notes and I was getting...
but I also forgot that I put it in the notes.
But not to say... Okay, so is it fair to say that deodorant may kill species, but not that not that it's not totally eliminating.
Oh, look, I think, I don't know that anyone's done the experiment on a deodorant to see whether it's a broad spectrum antimicrobial. Does it kill just bacteria? Does it kill fungal species? Does it kill viruses? You know,
Yeah.
who knows?
Okay, so
I mean, I think
the jury's out.
I think predominantly it's bacteria that we're talking about anyway. They're the microbes that make the smells.
Okay.
Those other organisms may be supporting or in some way impacting on the ability of the bacteria to thrive.
Yeah.
Fungal species in particular. So
Okay.
they're not necessarily making the smells themselves, but they're supporting or inhibiting the bacteria.
Bacteria. Okay. Who are making the smells? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
All right. And then 3 men, 2 women who used neither, or as they abbreviated it, no.
No. So we've got the AP group, antiperspirant, deodorant group, and no, neither group.
Over 8 days, all participants took swabs of their pits between 11 and 1 p.m. Day 1, they followed normal hygiene routine in regard to antiperspirant/deo use. Days 2 to 6, they did not use any. Days 7 and 8, they all used antiperspirant.
Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting.
So it's a bit of a crossover.
Cool.
All samples were cultured, so I don't think there's any real concern here that there are facultative anaerobes or anaerobes that are not being picked up, because if they're aerobic species, they're going to be able to be cultured. You can't culture an anaerobic species. A species that can't survive in oxygen can't be cultured.
Okay. So it's this the culturing of these samples isn't giving the most accurate, comprehensive picture of what's actually happening on your skin.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And I should just say, when I say species, I'm meaning species and strains and genera.
Yep.
Just for anybody who wants some taxonomic specificity. So, all samples were cultured to determine abundance of organisms and day-to-day differences. The results: day 1, fewer microbes in the antiperspirant group compared to the no group, the nothing group. The deodorant group had more microbes than the no group.
Okay.
Just goes to show that killing is not necessarily an effective way to deal with species that you don't want to be there.
No.
Day 3, antiperspirant had more microbial growth.
So another rebound.
Another rebound. Day 6, comparable between all groups.
Okay, so some kind of like normalization, like return. Okay.
Day 8, using antiperspirant, very few microbes, demonstrating antimicrobial properties of the antiperspirant. So stopping the sweat has an impact, actually had more of an impact than the group that killed the microbes.
Yeah, right.
But the conclusion is that while it was previously thought that armpit microbial populations were largely determined by chance, they are most likely dominated by 2 main genera and can be significantly influenced by product use. Within those genera are many beneficial species. However, it's difficult to discern the taxa being favoured by product use in this study, because of course one product differs to another, one person differs to another. From day to day, you know, what you eat, all of those other factors are going to play a part. And this small study, of course, it has to be remembered that it is a very, very, very small study.
Yeah.
But it's interesting nevertheless.
It is. I like the point that you made about the armpits being an infection site for MRSA.
Psyllin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. So an antibiotic-resistant
Staph aureus infection. Armpits are a common MRSA infection site in athletes, and more work needs to be done to determine any links between skin microbes and product use. I just thought that was interesting in athletes. So we're thinking more sweat, or we're thinking more product use.
Or more testing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know, I mean, athletes are sweating more, but there's more likelihood that they're tested. I mean, they're often a group that are tested.
Yeah.
They're often within university settings, certainly in America, that's the case.
Yeah.
And there's so much is tested about athletes and how it affects their performance. There's a lot of money goes into it, so of course there's a lot of research.
So this is a quote from the study, just as like a little wrap up. Our work clearly demonstrates that antiperspirant use strikingly alters armpit bacterial communities, making them more species rich. So again, it's in theory, it's trying to kill, but there's this rebound effect that we see. Because antiperspirants only came into use within the last century, we presume that the species of bacteria they favour are not those historically common in the human armpit. Makes you think how different we smelled a century ago.
Yeah.
Whether these species may interfere with the function of beneficial skin symbionts being species that are supportive to human health.
Yeah.
Whether these species may interfere with the function of beneficial skin symbionts, contribute antibiotic resistance genes, prove benign, or perhaps even confer beneficial effects to human health remains an intriguing avenue for further study. Agree.
We should just also add in there another fun fact, is that there are at least 2 species of microbes that live on the skin that break down things like toxins like cigarette smoke. So potentially that's a way that the skin biome can assist health that we might not have thought of, is that it breaks, that they actually metabolize things that come in contact with the skin.
Yeah. Let's go short and sweet.
Yep.
With
the big question on everybody's lips.
Oh.
Well, at least if you're at a backyard barbecue. Karinda.
It gets more and more intriguing the more that comes out of your mouth. What is the question on everyone's lips?
Karinda, why do I get targeted by all of the mosquitoes in the backyard, but you don't?
Well,
what's different about me?
This is just for story's sake. I absolutely do get bitten by mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's got something to do with your skin microbes.
What? Yes.
So yes, there is a link between how attracted mosquitoes are to your skin based on the species that are on your skin.
Via. Here's a new word for everybody to use in a sentence to show people how knowledgeable you are about the skin biome. Via Pheromone. I can't even say it.
Pheromones.
Pheromones.
Kind of like pheromone, like because they've got the same ending.
Yeah.
Hormones, pheromones, pheromones.
Pheromones, a substance produced by one organism attracting another organism for its benefit.
Okay, so we knew that mosquitoes sense out humans to bite, optimal humans to bite, by zeroing in on our scent, including chemicals, pheromones maybe, released by oil and sweat glands in our skin. Sweat glands also release different molecules that skin microbes then break down to use as nutrients, which we spoke about. The metabolism of these nutrients releases small molecules with specific odors, which then attract mosquitoes. So again, thinking back to that genetic variation we were talking about, if you are producing more of these lipid protein-rich substances in your sweat, in your sebum, and depending on the bacterial species you have colonizing that part of your skin, wherever in question, hang on, I'm getting lost.
Were you producing different pheromones?
Right.
To attract...
No, but we're not producing it.
Oh, no, we're not producing it.
The bacteria are eating our releasings.
Yeah.
The bacteria are eating our excretions, and then it's the metabolic process of the bacteria eating those things that releases these pheromones. Yeah. Interesting.
And one of those may well be carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
Because there is also a discussion about carbon dioxide being a factor. But of course, that is one of the byproducts of the microbes anyway.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Okay. And a new study has pinpointed chemicals generated by the skin microbiome that can actually repel mosquitoes. Oh, specifically, this natural perfume drives away a species called Aedes aegypti. I'm not even going to try, which spreads diseases such as dengue, yellow fever, and Zika. Interesting.
How cool is that you could perhaps have a skin probiotic or prebiotic.
Yeah, to feed what's already there. Yeah.
To keep away mozzies.
That would be pretty sick.
So it's not going to be a neurotoxin on your skin.
Oh my God, yeah. So we need to do a mini episode on DEET maybe. Try not to use DEET. Anyway, from a different study, oh no, maybe a similar study or same study. Future Karinda will figure it out. We're clearly not firing on the strongest I think we're doing a great job.
I think we're doing a great job.
Cognition isn't strongest today. I'm going to blame it on the new moon in Pisces. Shout out to the new moon in Pisces. Individuals with higher numbers of Pseudomonas species
Pseudomonas,
were shown to be less attractive, while those with higher Staphylococcus species were more attractive to a specific species of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I just have to bring up another little detail that I'm aware of, and that is that people who have experienced eczema and asthma, but not exclusive to those people. So anyone that experiences eczema, asthma, seasonal allergies in general, sinusitis, chronic sinusitis, are more likely to be people who have a skin type that supports Staphylococcus aureus.
Interesting.
Which then changes 11 different aspects of the skin to support its own
agenda.
Yeah. But it also goes on to support other species, like fungal species in particular.
That's
a whole
scary, fascinating
other rabbit hole. Yeah.
Okay, we might need to do just a single episode on Staph aureus.
Yeah, I'd love to.
You've got a lot to say.
Well, I do have a lot to say, and I have treated a lot of people that have this predisposition to Staph aureus dominance, and it's fascinating.
Interesting, yeah, an important one to have on the radar. Feeling like I past Karinda could have put in a point to help wrap things up into a nice little bow, but there it is. There's a bit of an answer to why a mosquito is attracted to people more than other people. That's an answer to why do I stink so much but my friend doesn't. That's an answer to why do I produce this kind of earwax but my friend, cousin, someone produces a totally different kind of earwax.
Yeah. One detail I don't think we mentioned there, or did we, was that all body smells are produced by bacteria.
I think that's good to reiterate, yeah.
All body smells. It's not you, it's your bacteria.
That's kind of nice to offset it if you do get a criticism.
I mean, there is a particular genetic predisposition to particular scent, and it's a very strong body odour that has a very fishy smell. I can't remember the name of it, but these people, it's not that they don't wash. They actually wash a lot. But they can actually change their diet to change the way they smell.
Interesting.
I just wanted to mention that because anybody that experiences that also experiences a lot of discomfort, shame.
Yeah.
And I wanted, there we go. It's trimethylamine, also known as fish odor syndrome. Occurs when the body can't break down trimethylamine.
Oh,
and
okay.
they end up smelling like rotting fish, which is really unpleasant for the other people around them, but it's also really unpleasant for them.
Yeah, of course.
And I think we should be gentle with people who have to live with this.
Shivers, yeah. Okay, and something can be done about it via the diet.
Yeah, you just change diet so that you're not eating foods high in trimethylamine.
Okay. Oh, good to know. Oh, that's a hot bonus point for the end, hey?
Yeah.
skin microbes. There you go. Ooh, love your skin. Don't shower too much. Your naturopath told you to.
And don't use deodorants with aluminium in them. And actually, do you really need to use a deodorant at all?
Karinda
Says
doesn't.
Karinda's showing her armpits.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Nuanced Naturopaths. Be sure to ask us any questions you have below, engage with the polls, and we'll catch you in the next one.